This train has gotten out of the station in 2023, but that is not the year it will arrive at its destination. On a regular day in 2023, a high school gym teacher named Hatano arrives at a train station, and she spots a man named Shirahama, who is a firefighter. She seems to recognize him and starts working up the courage to talk to him as they board the train. Also on the train are several other people, such as a gaming enthusiast named Daichi, a spoiled and uptight young girl named Reina, Shodai, a doctoral biology student, Hiroko, an older woman going through young men on dating apps that find older women attractive, Tanaka, a husband with an urgent dentist appointment, a businesswoman named Kayoko, and the young high school couple of Kazuma and Koharu. Also among these people is a mysterious hairstylist named Naoya, who is looking up an article about juvenile offenders. Tanaka accidentally drops a bottle cap which reaches Kayoko, and he expects her to pick it up, but she ignores him, leaving the bottle cap wandering through the train. Hanato continues to try and work up the courage to approach Shirahama. A man named Komori from the station staff enters the train car, and just then, all the people in the car receive an earthquake alert on their phones. Shirahama sees the bottle cap rolling toward him, but as he bends down to pick it up, it vanishes in thin air. He doesn't get a chance to process what just happened, as the earthquake violently shakes the train car, causing all the passengers to fall over. During the commotion, a man is seen vanishing into thin air as well, but the passengers are too caught up in the chaos to notice. The train goes through a tunnel and shakes violently again before meeting a terrible accident. Next, the passengers get up and find that the train seems to have derailed and crashed. Komori tries to reach the front end of the train but gets no response. As the doors are opened and the passengers step out, it is revealed that only one car of the train has crashed, and that it is in the middle of some wilderness, which makes no sense because they were in the city just a minute ago. Shirahama starts going around to make sure that none of the passengers are hurt, and inspired by his proactiveness, Hatano says that she will go into the tunnel and walk all the way back to the city to get help. Shirahama decides to join her, and so does Naoya, but not because he wants to help, just because he has to be somewhere. Back in the city, two detectives are informed that the train has arrived at the station with one car missing. The station staff walks into the tunnel to find the car that was decoupled. As Shirahama, Hatano, and Naoya walk through the tunnel, a rock lying on the tracks behind them gives off a strange glow. The station staff sees a flashlight coming from the other end, and it seems for a moment that they are about to run into Shirahama, but they just find another search party, who report that they have gone the entire length of the tracks and found no trace of the lost car. It's as if it vanished into thin air. Meanwhile, Shirahama, Hatano, and Naoya reach the other end of the tunnel and are shocked to see that they are in the middle of a desert. They climb a hill to get a better look at their surroundings, but see nothing but the desert for miles in every direction. They can't make any sense of what is happening. As they return and tell all the passengers what they saw, confusion and panic start spreading. Tanaka tries to make the argument that perhaps their car was blown somewhere very far away from the tracks, but Hatano points out that the tunnel they came from is still there. Daichi starts coming up with wild theories like parallel universes and the afterlife, and Shirahama suggests that they do something productive, like note down details of all the passengers so that they have a record. As Shirahama and Hatano carry out this task, Daichi asks Hatano how she knows Shirahama. She replies that he came to her school once to demonstrate a firefighting drill. She seems to lose herself a little when she tells the story. Shirahama starts a fire, hoping that the rising smoke will catch someone's attention and act as an SOS. He sees Naoya and asks for his name and profession, but Naoya reveals that he wishes to remain anonymous. He further adds that they don't need to worry about him, since he will be leaving anyway. Shirahama says that going out alone is dangerous, and if something were to happen to Naoya, he wouldn't be able to help. Naoya replies that he's not asking for help, but Shirahama insists that he stay and wait for rescue. Naoya agrees. 7 hours go by, and no one arrives to rescue the passengers. People start getting hungry. Rina checks to make sure no one's watching, and starts going through people's bags looking for food. She goes through Naoya's bag and finds a pair of scissors and a letter from the prison. Next, she goes through Hatano's bag and finds food. She tries to secretly leave with the food, but encounters Naoya on the way and drops the bag. He tries to give it back to her, but she just runs away. Next, as Hatano hears people complain that they are hungry, she reaches into her bag to share the food she has, but finds that it is gone. She spots Naoya holding her food items, and he tries to explain that he didn't steal them, but Reina gets up and tells the entire car that Naoya has a letter from the prison and a weapon in his bag. Hence, he is clearly a dangerous man that they shouldn't trust. Naoya is enraged at this accusation and leaves, and no one stops him. As he is walking through the jungle, he spots 2 cartons full of water bottles. Back on the train, Hatano and Shirahama divide the food items they have with them and give them to all the passengers. Daichi, who has been shooting a vlog, reveals that his video caught Reina stealing Hatano's food. The passengers are enraged that Reina blamed Naoya for her crime, and she arrogantly replies that she never said he stole Hatano's food. She just said that he was a dangerous man. The passengers can't believe her, but Hatano and Shirahama realize that they have to go after Naoya. Naoya walks through the forest for a while and eventually comes across a deep chasm. He is about to turn back when he slips and falls and barely holds on to a vine. His grip is about to give away when suddenly Shirahama and Hatano arrive and rescue him. They apologize for suspecting him before and take him back to the train car. He reveals his name and profession to them as a gesture of trust. Shirahama asks what the deal is with the letter that Reina was talking about, suggesting that perhaps he can help Naoya, but Naoya replies that he doesn't see them becoming best friends. At night, as all the passengers prepare to go to sleep, Hatano finds Naoya sitting by himself. She tells him to get some sleep and save his strength in case they get rescued tomorrow. He asks her how she can be so positive in a situation like this, and she replies that she has a simple policy. Whatever the situation, she will do what she can. The next afternoon, when no help arrives, Shirahama tells the passengers that they are going to have to figure out a way to survive here, because they are surrounded by a desert, some cliffs, and a chasm. There is nowhere to go. Hungry and thirsty, the passengers start freaking out, and one by one, they start leaving. Shirahama tries to warn them that going alone is dangerous, and that they should stick together to survive, but they don't listen. Naoya tells him to let them go and die if they want to. It's not his job to save everyone. Shirahama reveals that he failed to save his friend at one point, and he became a cripple for life. Shirahama apologized to his friend, but his friend simply told him to save as many lives as he can in place of this one. Hence, he will try to save everyone. Naoya tells him to face the reality that he can't save anyone, but Hatano reveals that Shirahama saved her. She used to live life very passively, but when Shirahama came to her school, she had a beautiful interaction with him where she heard him utter his motto, "When tomorrow comes, I'll do what I can." Since then, she's made it her motto. She does whatever she can for the people and the world around her. She gets involved in the lives of her students and tries to help them. Some of them push her away, but she still does whatever she can for them. Hatano and Shirahama go after all the passengers together and convince them to come back and try to survive together. Shirahama gives rousing speeches, which work, much to the surprise of Naoya. Naoya reads the letter in his bag, and it is revealed to be from his little brother, whom he raised all by himself. He was caught assaulting someone at a supermarket and sent to a juvenile correctional facility. Naoya wonders if he did all he could to save his brother. All the passengers find strange things outside. Kazuma finds a beer can which has a manufacture date of 2026. Tanaka finds the remains of a building that is not due to be completed from another 3 years. And finally, Shodai finds a genetically engineered plant that is still under research and won't be allowed in the wild for another 30 years. All these signs suggest that they have somehow traveled to the future. Back in 2023, news reports reveal that the train lost not just 1, but 2 cars. Meanwhile, in the future, Komori returns with a man he found in the wild, who is from 2023 as well. He reveals that he had cartons of water, but someone stole them, and the thirsty passengers groan. Naoya reveals that he saw those cartons and agrees to reveal the location, but he expresses concerns over whether the passengers will share the water. Shirahama says they will, but he doubts it. He takes Shodai and Hiroko with him to get the water, but finds that the cartons are no longer there. Meanwhile, Hatano asks the passengers to pile up all the food they have, but it isn't much. Naoya returns and asks who stole the water, because it has to be one of them. Shirahama asks him to not make accusations like that. As the passengers get thirstier, morale starts going down. At night, Shirahama sets up a contraption to collect rainwater, since a forest like this must get a lot of rain. Hatano helps him and the two bond. Meanwhile, Naoya is determined to catch whoever stole the water. The next morning, Shirahama, Shodai, and Hatano head out to find water, and Naoya joins them. Back on the car, Rina steals Daichi's power bank, and the two get in a fight which quickly creates a lot of chaos in the train. Naoya warns Shirahama that chaos and conflict will get worse in the train over time, but Shirahama says that as a firefighter he's seen a lot of terrible situations, and he's always found that eventually people want to help one another. They come across a frog and some damo ground, and following it, they arrive at a mountain, the sides of which are wet, suggesting that there is water at the top. Now, they just have to figure out how to climb it. Meanwhile, Komori discovers that Tanaka is the one who stole the water, but when he confronts him, Tanaka responds with violence. To give the people something to do, Hiroko makes people clean up the train and organize it into separate sections for men and women. Tanaka arrives with 1 carton of water and demands that if people want the rest, they'll have to pay him in some way. Just then, Naoya returns, and in his rage, he threatens to stab Tanaka with his scissors. Shirahama stops him, but he argues that they can't allow anyone to behave like this without consequences. Shirahama says that they will deal with this situation rationally. Naoya brings Tanaka in front of the passengers and asks him if he'll return the water, and he promises that he will. Then Tanaka has a vote on whether they should allow Tanaka to stay. The vote is tied, and eventually, Hanato breaks the tie by voting to let Tanaka stay. Tanaka brings the rest of the water, and the passengers cherish every single drop. The next morning, Shirahama makes a rope using some vines and ties and manages to climb the mountain, where he finds a waterfall. They all celebrate this victory. However, when Shirahama climbs to the very top of the mountain, he sees Mount Fuji in the distance, surrounded by water on all sides, as opposed to any land or cityscapes like it's supposed to be. He shares this with the rest of the passengers, confirming that they have traveled many decades, possibly even centuries, into the future. Realizing that everyone they've ever known is now dead, the passengers go into a state of shock. In a delusional state, Kayoko grabs her bag and heads out to look for her family. The passengers start recording messages for their families with the little bit of phone batteries they have left. Back in 2023, the family members of the missing passengers demand to know where their loved ones are. In the future, Hatano has a conversation with Naoya where he tells her the whole story of how he worked incredibly hard to raise his little brother. But while he was busy providing for them, his brother got involved in a criminal lifestyle. Hatano empathizes with him, and the two bond. At night, as everyone sleeps, Tanaka goes out to pee. While he is relieving himself, the same bottle cap which disappeared on the train falls on his head. He looks up and sees green lights in the sky. Then, someone appears behind Tanaka in the dark, and when he turns around, his face shows an expression of shock and fear at whatever or whoever he is seeing. Pending Train is a 2023 Japanese TV series which aired for a total of 10 episodes. The show majorly received average to poor reviews from audiences. It was criticized for its slow pace and greater focus on drama between characters, rather than its science fiction and adventure elements. While some viewers enjoyed it as a comfort show, it was mostly disliked for falling short of its American counterparts like Lost and La Brea. Thank you for watching. Be sure to like our channel and subscribe if you enjoy content like this. Also, let us know what movie you would love us to recap for you.